Hello my friends and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress Explained Poorly. Today we're going to talk about a few things that I learned by playing Adventure Mode and dying over and over and over again. So in the latest build of Adventure Mode, you are not supposed to be able to make save splits and keep playing your character after death. But there is a fairly simple way to copy out files and then replace those files and kind of fight the game client and still do save splits as much as you want. I've been doing that, and the result is that I have kept my Zefon Birdman alive, despite the many deaths that he has suffered. But with that said, let's get into some of these gory deaths and the things that I have learned from them. So the first thing that I want to talk about are ambushes. It turns out that in Adventure Mode, the best way to really cover a lot of ground, and it also heals you, is to go into travel mode within Adventure Mode and then move quickly across the map. This will heal your character and it will also get you somewhere that you want to be sooner. My method, and I've explored a lot of this continent just on my own 2 feet and on my own 2 wings as a birdman. I've explored a lot of this continent by just hopping in travel mode from river to river, because that's the thing, you're going to get thirsty. You can always sleep on the ground. You can usually hunt an animal nearby, but if you don't have a fresh source of water, you might die of thirst. So I've been hopping, basically using travel mode to move from river to river. But one thing that can mess that up, ambushes apparently can happen with goblins, with, raiders, with thieves, with anything like that. And what will happen it will pull you out of travel mode, bring you back down into, square by square mode, where you just have a bird's eye view of your character, and you will be already in combat. Now here's something very interesting that I learned, and I'm pretty confident that probably a lot of people don't know this yet. My character is a bird man, of course. He's a grackle man, technically, which is a type of, it's like a raven or a crow. It's in that same family of animals. But so he can fly. And in the past, whenever I didn't want to deal with something, I would just fly straight into the air, So it turns out that the way that this engine works is that I can fly when I'm just walking and traveling, but when I am already in combat, it will lock me to a Z level. And to my knowledge, there's no way to get out of that. I haven't found a way to get out of it. And this has come up a few times where when the game decides that an alligator has gotten close enough, or in the case of an ambush, it alerts you immediately. It says, hey, we're playing, you are already in combat. So in the case of these wolves, I got torn apart every time. In a few cases, because again, I'm save scumming, I'm replaying it and retrying it, I was able to kill the main wolf that was attacking me and then maybe flee from the other wolves, run through the trees until they can't see me. And then from there I was able to fly, but I was not able to just lift off and get out of range, which is kind of an oversight, because that's what I would do. If I was suddenly ambushed by wolves or alligators or anything, I would certainly not hold to my honor and engage them in fair combat. I would fly into the air every time if I had the option. But you don't have the option once combat has officially started, it seems. A lot of these situations, if I get ambushed by a wolf, I can't handle it. They rip your character apart. It's like 6 strong wolves, and they are descending on you. In my case, you can't fly in the air. For most adventurers, you're not going to be able to fly into the air, of course. But that was just a luxury that I had gotten used to. Got torn apart by wolves a few times. Let's talk now about the alligator ambushes, which happen in a lot of rivers. There'll be alligators sitting in a river, and if you get close enough within their vision, they will descend on you surprisingly quickly and just rip you apart likewise. And once again, once the game has decided that they have initiated combat, you are now locked to walking, basically. You cannot just take off into the air. And again, this all just applies to the latest build of Adventure Mode in version 47. I hope in version 50, when Adventure Mode arrives, that they will be a lot of quality of life fixes, a lot of the great stuff that we've seen on Steam, where the saving and loading is much more intuitive and easy in how you want to do it, and a lot of little fixes like that. But anyway, so definitely, watch out for nature ambushes while you're fast traveling, because if something sneaks up on you, or just the game decides it's close enough that you have now locked eyes like in Pokemon, and now the battle is going to start, you cannot pull any, at least not the sneaky trick that I used to like, which is just to fly into the air and leave. Now, snapping turtles are less aggressive, but I have died to them a few times, just like in real life. Well, I don't know. I think some snapping turtles may be somewhat aggressive. They're smart enough to know that they're mean, but in this game so far, they have not messed with me, but I have been messing with them for meat. And they are quite mean, and I have been maimed. The other thing that I'm save scumming, where I'm using a save split, is if my character gets so badly injured that they really can't adventure much anymore. And that's happened a few times, like I said. So in a lot of these scenarios, I will survive, but just barely. Like, I'll manage to put my axe in the attacking thing, but I will have nerve damage and missing limbs, and I'm just kind of crawling along. And even if, I don't have any fatal injuries, it's not really a good way to continue as an adventurer. So I have been saving him from grievous injuries as well. And snapping turtles will often do that, where I'll get the meat, and then I'll check my guy and be like, oh, he is missing all of his little bird fingers now, and that's no good. Oh, another interesting procedural thing that happened was in one of the wolf attacks, one of them grabbed my arm and was like tearing me by the arm, and then later I had a temporary injury that was affecting my ability to grasp, and I was like, okay, that's fine. We're going to heal that up. And then I realized later that I had left my precious bronze axe a long way away in that woods, so my hands had healed, but the wolf had ripped the axe out of my hand and I hadn't noticed in my panic. So that's one of the really cool things that, just comes up in Dwarf Fortress all the time, where it's so procedural and it makes sense. So let's see. I also... So my last major note for this episode is, I did have a thing I learned. So watch out for alligators that will attack you. Be careful around snapping turtles and other creatures that might hurt you easily. But the thing that I learned from that is, so I want to recommend, if you make a character in adventure mode, and I don't think I've mentioned this either, so let me just say a few things about how you set your points when you make a character in adventure mode. It's going to give you 3 options. One is peasant, one is hero, and one is demigod. And I didn't know what those were at first. So I said hero, luckily, which is the medium. But that's basically just how many points your character gets, how rich they are, in terms of possessions, in terms of their skills, and in terms of their natural abilities. So demigod is kind of like easy mode. It almost kind of goes backwards. Demigod is the easiest, and then peasant is the hardest mode. You might expect the opposite from the names, but that's how it works in the current version. And that I wanted to recommend when you're building your character with these points, on whatever difficulty you like, is butchery. Having skills in butchery is actually incredibly, incredibly useful. Because I didn't realize, I was like, oh, that's just, a skill in town. It's part of preparing meat. But you get much, much more food from each animal. Your efficiency in harvesting animals, it gets much, much better with more butcher points. So like when I started this character, he didn't really have any. So I would just get some meat. But then now that he's practiced, he's been feeding himself by butchering things the whole time. He's kind of good at it. And now I get every organ. I get the heart, the lungs, the kidneys, the liver, the sweetmeat, the tripe. I get, the intestines. I get every single piece of the animal now. And so I have to hunt less. So it's really, really useful. Oh, one other thing. So some commenter mentioned about cooking, and maybe it was a joke, because I looked that up and there doesn't seem to be much or any cooking, making of nice meals. That doesn't seem to be programmed in at all yet. So go ahead. If I gave you any hesitation on the last one, you can disregard that. We're all just eating raw meat, basically. That's the main source of food in the current version. Again, all of this might be out of date when the Steam version comes out. We're going to have to find out together. Okay, and then the last funny or interesting thing that I really wanted to share, because it really taught me some things, it shed some light on this whole adventure mode situation, is I found a bunch of badger men and women. So I'm a bird man, I'm a grackle man. So I found some other animal people by the banks of a river, and I don't know exactly what was happening, but I was sneaking. Just by coincidence, it was nighttime, I was sneaking. So I was eavesdropping on them, and one of the grackle men, you'll see it in this footage, I'll include it. One of the badger men is saying over and over again to a badger woman, I beat up Zefon Birdman. They're talking about me. They don't even know I'm there somehow, but I guess they've heard of me somehow. And I guarantee you, I don't think I ever fought a badger man. I think he was lying. I think he was bragging. I honestly believe that I snuck up and I was eavesdropping, and this badger man was bragging to his badger woman that he had beat me up when we had never met before. I guess he had heard of me or something. He was saying it over and over. The conversation was kind of stuck on it. There was other little conversation pieces, but he was reiterating as I was eavesdropping that he had beat my character up. So I did go and confront him, and I did go and kill him in front of everybody to defend my honor. And he does run off and then fight me. He got some good licks in. He could have, if he had snuck up on me in a different situation, he probably could have killed me because I was too badly injured. I counted that as a death, basically. I think he got me pretty bad. It was like my ability to grasp and stand were like both destroyed. I had barely killed him before he killed me, but so yeah, that was another one that was pretty interesting. Leave it in the comments if you know what that was about, because it blew my mind. Another little procedural thing. I'm like, is this badger animal creature? Is he hitting on his girl by telling lies about me? I was like, it really blew my mind. So that's all I have for today. Really encourage you to do the same. If you're interested, make a character, stick with them. It's really not too hard. It's if you know how to install the Lazy Noob pack to, play this in the first place, then just kind of Google how to do save splits. It's really just a matter of copying a few folders out of Dwarf Fortress and then copying them back into Dwarf Fortress when you want to reset your game to a certain point. It's a little tedious, but it's not rocket science either. Standard disclaimer, if you mess up your computer, that's on you. Be very careful. But that's all I have. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Any of those help my channel a lot, help us grow, and help me talk to more people about Dwarf Fortress, so I really appreciate any interaction that you can give me. Advice is always really appreciated because I'm still learning adventure mode of, right alongside everybody else. So yeah, thanks again, everybody, and I will talk to you soon.